Speaking out is scary. It's scary, right? If I say the wrong thing, I could be labeled as this, or I could be called that, or people who don't agree with me are going to attack me and, right, give me labels. Okay, this is the world we live in now. When we don't like something someone says, we're going to label them as something not very nice. Friends, we need to be really clear about the cost of speaking out versus the cost of not speaking out. So I want to make a quick illustration. Those of you who have had children, or, even if you haven't, you've been part of a family. So let's say parents in a house make new rules and the children don't react and they just go along with it. So we're going to start making some new rules. So we're going to make a rule, no more TV for the rest of your life while you were living here at this house. No more TV. The kids just go along with it and they don't react. And the parents are like, this is awesome. I'm going to make some more rules. No more devices, no more tablets. You're going to start making our dinner every night. The kids just go along with it. They even make pretty okay tasting dinner. It may not be the best ever, but who cares if somebody else is making it for you, right? They just go along with it. The parents are like, wow, okay, now you have to clean the house for us every week. The kids just go along with it, okay? Imagine a system that works like that. Sounds pretty amazing as a parent, right? Kids naturally push back, right? We make new rules. They are independent little spirits and they want to push back, right? That's how we're created. It's in us, right? So let's look at that as a bigger population. But before I do that, so when they push back, let's say you make rules and they push back. I think a lot of parents don't make rules or don't stick with their rules because of that pushback. Like as parents, we're busy and we're tired and there's a lot going on and we're trying to get food on the table and run kids between sports and do all these things and like we're tired. And sometimes that willpower that's left isn't enough to make the rules and to stick with the rules. And parents, you got to do it. You got to do it. And it's so worth it. When you make the rules and you stick with the rules and you're firm, it is so worth it and life gets so much better. Okay, I'm just going to throw that in there. Now let's expand this example to a population of people such as those of us living in the United States of America. So when new rules and ideas and things start infiltrating our culture and we just go along with them and we don't say anything and we may have opinions, but we keep them to ourselves. We keep them offline. Maybe things going on in our churches that are not okay with, things going on in our schools that are not okay with, lots of things going on online that we're not okay with, in the news, all these things. And we just keep it to ourselves and we just keep going. Whether we're happy about it or not, that makes it a lot easier for these ideas to keep infiltrating our culture full speed ahead, right? So we've had a lot of things going on, and some of us, we have to pay attention to like what's going on in our schools, what are our children being taught, what kinds of, who's allowed in what bathroom, what's like all kinds of things are going on, right? We have to pay attention. We need to be aware. We do need to be aware of like, what do our churches stand for? I'll talk about it in a minute. What do we stand for there? And do we agree with it or not? Things going on in our local governments, like we need to be paying attention. And when we are not okay with something, friends, here's what we have to think about. What is the cost of speaking out versus what is the cost of not speaking out? There are cultures, countries in our world's history where life has gotten really bad, and it's gotten really bad in a short period of time. There are a lot of people issuing warnings that we are in our moment getting pretty close to, let's say, what happened in China in around the 70s, I think. What happened in Germany in the 1940s. There's a lot of people. I listened to this audiobook here not too long ago, and it explained everything. It explained all these new terminologies. It explained the erosion of our history, lack of appreciation for who we are as a people and what our founding fathers did for us, and the foundation of our country built on faith and family values that were so important to us as a culture of people, and just all kinds of things. So we're wearing away at the values of like general education, where we teach kids to think for themselves and problem solve. We're wearing away at the family. We're wearing away at faith, to the point that it has even been eroded inside the walls of the church, even inside the walls of our homes. And learning about history is just so important, because this has helped me realize like how bad things have gotten, because I didn't know where we started. I didn't know that our government came from big biblical principles. Like, nobody ever told me that. My public school education didn't teach me that. Okay, we've been dumbing down the public school education, our values, our history for, I get the idea, like decades and decades, maybe most of 100 years now. Probably not that long, but anyway, we're eroding, wearing down the family. So, what is the cost of not speaking out? We have all these new ideas. Lots of new ideas. You look at the things that have changed in the last 5 years, 10 years. Lots of new ideas that if you don't go along with them and you're totally okay with them and you accept them in your schools and your local government and our national government and all these places, your workplace, your church, if you don't just go along with it, you're going to be labeled as whatever. It takes a lot of willpower to stand up and speak out when nobody else is doing it. It takes a lot. But you know what? Our history is full of courageous people who spoke out and did what was hard when nobody else was. And when one person stands up, in a lot of cases, more are going to join. Sometimes all it takes is that one person, and the whole room, the whole school, the whole town, the whole workplace, like others will follow. And it may be everyone, but it takes one courageous soul to get it started. This book, I encourage you, look up the audiobook, get the book if you have time to read books. We need to be aware of what's going on. The quieter we are, think about those children who didn't react, and the parents are like, this is awesome, I'm going to make all the rules, I'm going to make you do all my work for me. I am just going to sit here and scroll my social media or whatever we like to do. I really encourage you to start listening to or reading books, man. We have dumbed ourselves down. We don't even know what's going on in the world around us. But yeah, think of that. So when these new ideas are infiltrating our culture, and there is a definite agenda to it. There is a definite agenda to it. And we have to know which political party is destroying our culture and destroying our history, our faith, all the things, because you have to destroy all of those things in a culture to take it over and go a completely different direction. We teach our children that our culture is bad. We teach them that you're being a good person when you accept these things and you love everyone the way they are, and you're perfect the way you are, and well, except for when you want to change the way you are. And we're going to love everyone and everything regardless of whether, regardless. Regardless. We're going to love it all, and we're going to accept it all. We teach our children to do these things so that they accept all this change and don't question it and don't realize how damaging it is now and could potentially be much, much more damaging to our country, to our culture, when all of these ideas change. When you speak out, you are resisting evil from hijacking our country and taking over what has been such an amazing and blessed thing for almost 250 years. I heard somebody speaking the other day on how the average government, the average constitution basically lasts like 17 years in a nation. 17, I believe, was the number. 17 years. Ours has lasted it hasn't lasted 248 because it wasn't written until, our nation is 248 years old. The Constitution, I believe, we declared our independence in 1776, but we didn't write our Constitution until, I think, 1787, I believe, is the year. I'm not positive, but anyway, that's a lot longer than 17 years. Clearly, our founders knew what they were doing when they wrote those documents. How many issues are up for election this election cycle in your states to change the Constitution? And do you even know? Do you even know if they're changing your Constitution or not? Because that's a big deal. We, in addition to knowing what's going on in our nation with the political parties and our two presidential candidates, we need to put time into keeping an eye on what's going on locally, because that is where it all starts. When you push back with what's going on locally, in schools, in towns, in your states, that has a big influence on what's going on in our nation. When they can run away and take away whatever in our schools, in our counties, in our towns, in our states, that makes it a lot easier to happen in our nation. We need to be researching those issues. It's tough. You try to find non-biased information online. When I was putting together resources on my website to recommend to people, I was looking for non-partisan voting guides. Okay? These things that tell you what the issues are, who the candidates are, and they don't add any opinions to it. I couldn't find one that wasn't biased. I couldn't find one that didn't have lies in it. And because I listened to a variety of news sources, I was able to see in seconds that right there is false. That's not true. I can't recommend this to people. So when you're searching for your information, oh friends, it is so hard to know where to look and where to turn. But people of faith, we have to get back to our faith. We have to get back to sharing Christ's message with the people around us, because people need it. Clearly, our world is looking for hope and light. And we got to save ourselves here. We're going to have to be in this together. And that's what I got for today. Bye, everybody.